All right, folks, we're just about to go live on YouTube. We are going to start out the show with a 10 bell salute to Johnny Wactor, who passed away tragically Saturday morning, and we'll fill you in on the rest. We are almost going to be. Where's my analytics? So we're going to mute and lay out for a couple of minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Suds News, brought to you by Suds in the Squared Circle. I am Vinnie. This is Christy, and we come to you starting off on a very somber, just a very somber mood and a somber story. If you obviously just seeing the graphic put up there, but also earlier over the weekend, it was announced former Brando Corbin, Johnny Wactor, was tragically shot and killed this past Saturday morning in LA. Um, Apparently, the story that we're hearing, um, the story that we've gotten so far from TMZ and from other news outlets is that he walked a coworker. He was working at a bar, a rooftop bar, and he ended up walking a coworker to her car. It was a female coworker, and he noticed that, they noticed that the car was kind of jacked up, and he had, gone to the person and said, "Are you looking to tow the car? Are you towing the car?" Um, and the guy took out a gun. He backed up, put his hands up. He got in front of this coworker, and the guy just shot him in cold blood. That's all it was. All because the guy was trying to steal a catalytic converter, um, and ended up uh, being declared, pronounced dead at the hospital. Um, and just heartbreaking. Um, the support for his family, the condolences were rolling in from his coworkers, from other people in daytime, no matter if they were on GH or not. Eric Martzoff put something up, and so other, people from other shows, including Young and the Restless and The Bay and Days and of course all of General Hospital. Sophia Matson, Sophia Matson wrote a very beautiful tribute to him. Kirsten Storms did as well. Um, I first read about it from John Lindstrom's Instagram post, and um, I had to do a double take. I had to reread it because I didn't, I wasn't sure what I was reading when I first saw it. Um, but he died a hero, and as we celebrate heroes today being Memorial Day, we celebrate those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms in the armed forces, in the Army and the Navy and the Marines and so on and so forth, and the wars that have fought for our country. Um, but in the soap world, there is Sandy, thank you for sharing that. There is a GoFund to help his mom and brothers. I have not been able to vet it out, whether it's legit or not, because GoFundMe can be set up by anybody, and it could always, if there have been instances of GoFundMe's being fraudulent. I cannot say for sure because I have not looked to vet it, but there is a GoFundMe out there, but just please be careful unless you see it come directly from, let's say, General Hospital or any of the talent agencies that he was with, then go ahead and donate. But he was just 37 years old. Rest in peace, Johnny Wactor. Just so sad, senseless, and it's not a time to bring up, anything political when you're celebrating somebody's life, when you're mourning the life of somebody. It's never a time to bring up something political. Um, all we know is we want to. Okay, so it was tweeted out by General Hospital, our talent agency. Thank you for that information, Sandy. Um, so it is legit a GoFundMe for the mother and brothers of Johnny Wactor. So, go help them out. And you know, there are people who try and make it political. It's not. It was just a senseless act of violence by some moron who just wanted to steal a catalytic converter. Um, just heartbreaking and sad. Um, and I I just wanted to share um in that I was on Take Two Radio earlier tonight with Candace and Anthony, and we were talking about this, and I had made the comment that when actors or people that you watch on TV die, you don't necessarily grieve as a fan, as a viewer, but in certain ways you do, because you get to know the character that they played. You get to have some kind of a connection to the actor, to the performer on the show. Granted, Brando was on 100 episodes, let's say, of GH. I think it was like maybe 237. I think that's what the count was, maybe less. I don't know. Um, but Johnny Wactor was on there, and the impact that the character made from the very first scene we see him in saving Carly from a gunshot, ironically, um, to at the very end, and him getting married to Sasha and being somebody there, getting hooked by Heather. It goes farther than that because you get to know these actors, these people through social media, which I guess is one of the positives through social media. You get to see where he was going because, he started on Army Wives and then went to GH, and then, he was on an episode of Criminal Minds and stuff. But he had movies that he was working on writing himself and producing himself, and he was working to get better and grow as an actor, as a performer. I feel very much like I did back 27 years ago, or 25 years ago, when Owen Hart passed away. Um, or yeah, it was 99. No, it was 98, 99. Can't remember off the top of my head, but when Owen Hart passed away, and you start to really care about these characters and these people who portray the characters, and it's heartbreaking, especially when you know the reality of the situation. Um, Christy, do you have anything to add?
Not really. I've lost a lot of people this year, so just hearing about another unfortunate passing is just really hard for me to hear. But my condolences and thoughts and prayers go out to the family. and the friends. It's tragic, but kind of knowing how he died, like that's like really admirable that he died saving someone else, and that just shows what kind of person he was. So that's all I'll say.
So tonight, our show is dedicated to the memory of Johnny Wactor, formerly Brando from General Hospital. So it makes it kind of hard to transition into what we were going to be talking about for GH. But outside of that, first off, want to welcome everybody to Suds News, brought to you by Suds in the Squared Circle. I'm Vinnie. This is Christy. Um, As always, do want to let everybody know the Sudsy Award voting is open. Go to sudsandsquaredcircle.com/Sudsy voting to bring you to the Google form, and you could go vote for all the Sudsy Awards that are there. Also, do want to announce, big announcement regarding the Sudsy Awards. First of all, the voting ends on Sunday, July 7th. The Sudsy Awards for 2024 will be released here on YouTube as well as podcast form on Sunday, July 20th. And we did sign a new presenter for the 2024 Sudsy Awards. We want to welcome author Guy Evans to being a presenter this year. As everybody knows, Guy Evans did write the book Nitro, the incredible rise and inevitable fall of Ted Turner's WCW. It's been released a couple times with added bonus material. He also co-wrote Eric Bischoff's second autobiography, Grateful, and also co-wrote the newest autobiography by David Penzer, Sitting Ringside, in which you heard me have an interview with David Penzer just about a month ago, right here on this channel. And his next solo book is coming out in August. But he will be a Sudsy Award presenter coming up in July. So thank you for joining us and welcome to the Sudsy Awards. Also, programming note, tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, dockside at the Bay, right here on this YouTube channel. Kim and I will be starting season 2, episodes 1 and 2 of The Bay that you can find on Amazon Prime, Peacock, as well as Tubi TV. Also, this coming Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, you can go ahead and watch me have a Squared Circle News episode with none other than Flobo Boyce right here. He and I will be talking all about WWE, NXT, and possibly get into some AEW. But we'll be here at 10 p.m. So tonight and the next 2 nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on this YouTube channel, and we'll bring you more content. Okay. So it's unfortunate that we have to go from a death in reality to a death that played out on screen this week. When we last left our General Hospital family members, we saw the montage that Gregory had of like his life, his family, flash before his eyes. And we kind of thought that might be like, him just remembering stuff or whatever, but it turns out that Monday morning when Monday's episode, when Finn goes to wake him up, Finn finds his father, Gregory, passed away in his sleep. And just the reaction to those scenes were quite great. Michael Easton, gets a lot of flack sometimes for not having a lot of charisma, but these scenes, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually really touched by the scenes. Particularly for me, this is the most I've related to Finn ever. Because Finn had that death and he had to be there and he had to call the 911 and the coroner, you know, to take his father away. And as the scene went on, we saw that I don't know how he had liquor there, knowing he was a recovering alcoholic, but he
It
had
was a
liquor in
it was a
his
gift from the wedding.
apartment.
It was a gift from the
Oh,
wedding.
it
That's
was
what
a
it was.
gift from the wedding. But
Yes.
who would gift Finn a recovering
It
alcoholic
was
alcohol? That's
it
kind of
was
what.
one of the Brooklynites from the Bensonhurst crowd
Oh, the
who
Cerullos.
didn't, yeah, the
Okay.
Cerullos that didn't know that Finn is a recovering addict. So they gave it to him as a gift.
Mm. Okay, that explains everything. Why he had that sitting there? Because I was like, why does he even have it in his house? How does he even have it? Because I knew it was I remembered it was like some kind of gift, but I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when he relapsed, that whole scene where he relapses and he smells the liquor and then he takes a drink, and I was like,
Yep.
wow. So that was really powerful stuff and very actually relatable. And I think that's very realistic
Yes.
to what a relapse looks like. So I was really, honestly, my applause for Michael Easton in that scene, because I think that was actually really well done. And I've never related so much to Fit in my life. I have a different addiction, but I'm not an alcoholic. But that was like, wow, like that's how you get triggered. That's very real. Like an event will trigger you, like a loss, and I've experienced a lot of loss in the last few months, so that was very relatable to me in that sense. So I was really amazed by that whole scene, and
Yeah.
I'm a little sad that Chase and Brooklyn had to cut their honeymoon short because of
They didn't
the
even get to go on
passing
their
of
honeymoon.
Gregory, but hey, they didn't. They got stuck. They were there at the airport about to go on the plane, and then they got the call. I'm like, oh man, this timing is just
Yeah. Hey, Lisa,
terrible.
welcome to the show. Thank you.
Terrible. Like you couldn't have waited like another week, man. Like, but I think once I saw that that the montage of all the memories, I was like, uh-oh, he's gonna die. He's gonna die.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I figured anyway. It was probably coming from that whole montage of clips. So
But
I was like, oh geez,
what
they
I
really
did
only do this,
what I didn't
at
understand
certain
with
points.
that montage is where were the times with Tracy? Like Tracy was left out of that entire montage.
Oh, good
That
point.
really upset me as a viewer, knowing that he and Tracy built this amazing rapport, and he ended up changing Tracy. It's like I felt like they just didn't give that the credibility that it deserved. Um, and it's like, I mean, it was so masterfully done, and I have to give him props because unless you've had a family member that suffered from ALS, you know, I don't want to put any words in the writer's mouths, but it's like I didn't want to see it be fumbled if they had to go with um more symptoms of ALS as it progressed as a disease. We saw the basics, we saw what was, going on, and Gregory Harrison did a fantastic job portraying that. But I think they did right by the disease by having him pass away in his sleep,
Mhm.
not prolonging it like they did, let's say, with Willow's cancer diagnosis, or leukemia.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was kind of shocked as to why Tracy was not included with that in that montage. And by the way, I misspoke. It was Tuesday's episode that Finn found him die dead. So
Mm.
it wasn't Monday. It was Tuesday's episode. Um, but yeah, so I do feel
Yeah.
like Tracy should have been included in that. But outside of that, like, how did you see how did you feel about Finn explaining to Violet and Violet's, reaction to be, run into his room and try to find him? That's always probably the hardest part. Um, Explaining to a child, their family member is no longer there.
I actually thought that was really well done too. Like just saying, he went to sleep and he didn't wake up, and that's exactly what happened. You
Yeah,
know, that's a really good way to put it for a child and I was like, oh wow, this is like good material for like not only Michael Easton, but whoever plays Violet too,
Sophia
like
Lowe.
for her to like have that material as a young actress. Yeah. For her to have that kind of material as an actress to play what grief is for a child is very powerful as well. So um I was I thought that was also like just really really well done, and for her to go into that room and been like, where's grandpa, like I thought that was also very like realistic,
Yeah,
honestly. So this is probably some of the most real kind of real life type of stuff that's not that like hokey or like not really like possible because it's on a soap. Like this is like real stuff. They played like real issues and real material in a very like real way that people watching at home can probably relate to.
yes.
So I am. Yeah. Those scenes were like almost hard for me to watch, you know?
Mhm.
So I actually really I like those scenes. I'm sorry if you hear my cat. He's crying because he wants to get let out of the room. Um but yeah, I'm gonna have to probably do that.
No, that's fine. But no, I agree. The scenes were completely well done. And when Elizabeth comes over and kind of confronts Finn and says, I know you're hurting, you've been drinking, and I'm gonna take Violet and so you can sober up. And he kind of, he said, no, you're not taking her anyway. You could stay here with her, if you want, or you can leave, but you're not taking her away. And I feel like
Yeah.
that may be, the first chink in the armor in, that relationship heading south.
For their relationship.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those were really good because at first she didn't say anything. At first Elizabeth didn't say anything. She looked at him, she
Yeah.
saw the drink, she saw the glass, she saw the bottle, she
Yeah.
looked back at him. I was like, nonverbal acting. Yes, Becky
Yes.
Hurst. I was like thrilled with her performance, first of all. And then, second of all, what she said of him to get to a meeting, he was like, "No, I'm not going to go to a meeting," and he was very like just rude,
Yeah.
with her. Um, but I mean, I think that's a real response
Of course.
of an
He's
addict who's
grieving.
relapsed. I think that's like a realistic
Oh,
response.
yeah.
Um, and so, so I really, really like that he gave her this choice whether you stay here or you gonna leave. And she left and then but she made sure to call Chase and say, hey, I think you should like go over there.
Yeah.
So that was good. It was all really good, 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 very good,
Yeah.
powerful acting. So if this is the end of like the beginning of the end for Finn and Liz, as you know, I'm not a Finn and Liz fan, so I'm not going to cry over it. I'm actually like totally fine if they decided to end this relationship. And I don't know what this holds for the future of Finn because we've heard that Michael Easton may be leaving. So
Yeah.
if this is the beginning of his storyline, of his exit storyline, I'm not sure, but
Well, I
I could
mean,
see how this would be.
later in the week, Elizabeth is venting. And again, thank you for those of you who are watching. Go ahead, thank you. Hit that. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, get notified anytime something gets put up on this page. enable those notifications. We do appreciate you. And if you are listening on the podcast, go ahead and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, we are an official affiliate of the WWE shop, which is a Fanatics experience. And that go to sudsandsquarecircle.com/wrestling merch. It activates our affiliate code, and we do get a commission off of that. You could buy one of these awesome NWO Wolfpack tank tops. You could buy anything of the NWO, anything of WrestleMania, and just announced SummerSlam in 2026 will be in Minneapolis on August 1st and 2nd of 2026. We still don't know where it's going to be for 2025 yet, but we do know for 2024 it's going to be in Cleveland. All right. So as we go forward, Elizabeth made a choice later in the week that could also potentially lead to some bad news for Finn, as she confided in Portia about Finn relapsing into drinking, or that he was drunk, that he was grieving and all that. However, Portia is the chief of staff at GH, or co-chief of
Mhm.
staff at GH, and she's his boss. She knows he has to stay
Yeah.
sober in order to work with patients.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first things Elizabeth brought up, like, because she wasn't going to confide in her right away, because she's like, well, you're my friend, but you're also chief of staff. So she wasn't going to say anything first, and I think she was like, well, I need to tell somebody, because she doesn't really have a lot of friends outside of Portia, right?
Right.
So I mean, she had to confide in somebody, and yeah, so that was an interesting conversation in the locker room they had, and now Portia's probably put in a difficult place because she doesn't. Well, I mean, I don't know how that would be handled, honestly. Like, maybe she's just gonna wait and see if Finn comes to work drunk or got
Right.
alcohol in his breath. I have no idea how that's gonna play out. If she's just gonna kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, because it's not like it happened at work.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
so it's not like he was on the clock drinking. So technically, I don't think she can do anything yet.
Well, I mean, she could always give him a urine test or a drug
Or a
test,
drug
alcohol test.
test. But then,
Uh,
well, she'll
before,
know. She'll know because of Elizabeth, and then Finn will
right.
know that she knows because of Elizabeth. So that'll be
Well, I mean,
fine.
part of his, part of the thing when he had to go through the lawsuit for the malpractice was that he had to be tested randomly for, for his addiction in order to continue to work with patients. I do want to give you an update. Sandy always, excuse me, just posted in the chat that they checked the GoFundMe, that his godmother started the fund to help his mother and brothers. Any extra money will be donated to charity. So again, if you're able to go help the Wactor family, and it is a GoFundMe that's out there. Once I find the link, I'll share it on our social media as well. But thank you for letting me know about that. All right, so yeah, I think that was probably a bad move for Elizabeth, because I mean, think about it. Who else could she have unloaded this information to? Terry. Where the hell is Terry? But she's also
Oh yeah,
co-chief of staff. Terry's like her best friend. Um,
yeah,
but Terry again is also co-chief of staff. Then there's Amy. Amy is a blabbermouth. She'll let
yeah.
it go
Amy's the
gossip anywhere.
basketball
So
gossip. Hmm.
but what about Felix? What about um, and you don't want to necessarily say Brooklyn or Chase or Maxie, because Brooklyn and Chase are obviously going through it themselves. And Maxie doesn't necessarily work at the hospital. But I don't even think that Elizabeth and Maxie are on good terms as it is, or if they ever been on good terms. Um, but yeah, I don't think Elizabeth really has many friends that she could have unloaded to. Laura, maybe. But
Yeah, maybe Laura. Laura's probably the only other person.
yeah. Um, but anyways, so let's kind of move on a little bit. Overall, Gregory Harrison is a fantastic actor, and he played his role to a T. Um, so rest in peace, Gregory Chase, after a battling ALS. But you know what? It did lead to some good scenes with Tracy and Cody, Tracy and Stella, Tracy and Ned as well. Just Jane Elliott is absolutely fantastic. She has chemistry. She could have chemistry with a freaking broomstick. But the scenes that she had with Stella and how she wanted to make sure the Chase family didn't have to pay for any medical needs at all, and she
Yes.
was going to pay for all the medical bills or anything, and just be able to unload that burden. And it's like Tracy's always had a good heart at the core, but I think we're starting to see the Lila in her coming out as opposed to the Edward.
Yeah. 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 Tracy is showing her compassionate, caring side that was probably always there. It was just Gregory that brought it
Yeah,
out in her. Or maybe she just only shows that side to certain people. But I think Gregory is the person who really changed that
yes,
and brought that about in Tracy to make her this nicer person, because she even told him that months ago, like, you're making me nice.
yeah,
like
I
why are you
remember.
making me nice?
Yep.
uh so uh so yeah, I mean, I liked seeing that. And her conversation with Cody was I
Yeah,
was it was kind of sad though for me to see Cody like break the news to her.
yeah,
But
it was.
she kind of pressed it though. Like, she was like, "What? What's the
Yeah,
news? Like, what?
yeah.
Why did Brooklyn and Chase come home early? Like, why? Like, so I was like,
But
"Oh
I
man,
think,
Cody's got to break the news to her." Oh my
um,
gosh.
but I think it.
It's
I almost feel like she knew once she said that Brooklyn and Chase did never got on the plane, and I feel like I almost feel like Cody was the right one because Cody was kind of disconnected from Gregory in a way, whereas obviously Brooklyn is his daughter-in-law and everything, and I think that was just the right way to play it out. And it also strengthened the bond between Tracy and Cody. I really liked how that came off. Um, all right, so we also kind of saw the aftermath of the scene of Christina witnessing Sonny beating up Deps. And I'm telling you, the scenes between Maurice Bernard and um uh oh gosh, why am I forgetting? Uh oh, for Pete's sakes, why am I forgetting your name? I'm having a brain fart right now. Um
Plays Ava.
no, who plays Christina?
What's Oh,
I'm having a brain fart.
me.
Good
Oh
Lord.
gosh.
Um
No, me too. Oh gosh.
I'm sorry, now I
Me
have to
too.
look it
Sorry,
up.
sorry, y'all.
Yeah, I have to look it up. I cannot believe
We literally got to look it up because
Kate Manzi,
we're
Kate
having a
Manzi,
moment.
Kate Manzi.
Brain
So,
fog. Kate
the
Manzi, yes.
I even posted on Twix the
Mm-hmm.
between Sunny and Christina on, I believe it was Monday, were absolutely fantastic. You could feel the emotion in the scenes, and Maurice Bernard actually reposted it and liked it too. Kate Manzi's not really on Twix that much, but the scenes between them were just absolutely fantastic. When she's in the bathroom, in the women's bathroom at the Metroport, and she's crying, and he comes in, and she's like, get away from me, don't touch me, I don't want to hear it. And
Right.
she's freaking out, and
He
then she
didn't
calls
knock,
me.
right? Like he didn't
Nah,
knock on the door. I don't think he
I
knocked on the
think
door.
I don't remember, but I just and then she ended up calling Blaze. But
Yeah.
I almost feel like she kind of had a and I know that, it's gonna play out, and she's gonna say, I always knew he kind of had this side to him, but I never saw it before, and I wish I had listened, and I was so wrong, and blah 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 blah. I'm almost wondering if maybe she had PTSD to when she was, you know, assaulted by her ex Kiefer, because she was a victim of domestic violence. So, I mean, theoretically, it could make that trigger. It could be a trigger for her. But just those scenes were absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. Um, they were phenomenal, and just you could feel the raw emotion in those scenes. And oh my God, I loved them.
Yeah. Yeah. They were really well done by both Maurice and Kate Manzi. I I really was impressed, and I would have the same reaction too as Christina.
Hmm.
Seeing my father do that, and my father, who I thought was like, because I think she just kind of has rose-colored glasses on when it comes to
Of
Sonny.
course,
And now this situation kind of opened up her eyes, and it's like, oh wow, like he really can be a really terrible, like mean person and not a great person sometimes. Yeah, just that scene in the bathroom, I'm pretty sure he didn't knock. I remember him just like coming in because he like knew exactly where she probably went to
yeah,
and like went into the bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, he like didn't even knock. So seeing that and seeing her reaction is exactly what I would have expected, what I would have probably done myself. Um and I'm glad she had called Blaze, but I think Sunny got there first because I think she called
yeah,
Blaze, and then Sunny got there first, and then Blaze came after. So that was just really really good emotional storytelling, and I could see that like on an Emmy reel for her
oh yeah,
for next year. So it was really really good stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
really powerful.
Very powerful. So I mean, it kind of led to Michael coming to console Christina, at Blaze's hotel room a little bit, and you know, Michael was like, Christina originally didn't want Dex to press charges, so Michael went to Dex, and asked Dex if he was planning on pressing charges, and tried to talk him out of it. Of course, Jocelyn was right there, and she kind of like, why are you protecting him? But he cares about Christina, and Christina's carrying Molly's baby, so they just wanted to make sure that Christina was comfortable and okay with everything. And Dex had originally agreed to not press charges, but then later in the week, Christina calls Dex and talked to him and says, "Listen, I didn't listen to you, and I didn't listen to Josh, and you were so right about my dad. If you need to press charges, go right ahead. He needs to be held accountable." So, I mean, eventually she kind of came around to it. But here's the other thing: up until now, Sonny at least had Christina and Dante that were basically on his side, right? That he didn't view as traitors, because he views Carly as a traitor, he views Jason as a traitor, he views Michael as a traitor, and Dex, of course. Um, but now Christina's is afraid of him, and Dante put him in his place and said, "I'm no longer going to look the other way for you. Like, if I have to arrest you, if I have to do something, I will," because he said he's a cop first and foremost, and he didn't want to get into that kind of a conflict of interest. Um,
Yeah, to be honest, I was kind of surprised Sonny even went to Dante and was like, "Hey, can you?"
he went to Dante to do damage control.
Yeah, well, the fact that he even did that though, because I was like, but like he really thought that Dante was going to turn a blind eye to everything, knowing he was a cop. So I was like, but Sonny, you're like, your son is a cop, but like
Yeah,
he's going to do his job. He's not gonna just be like, oh, well, that's my dad. So the
exactly.
law doesn't apply to him.
Yeah. Um, but Anna kind of talked to Don. That was one of the conversations that Anna had with Dante was, are you going to be able to, be okay and not look the other way when it comes to Sonny, and hold Sonny to the letter of the law. Um, so everybody right now, Sonny has no allies except for Ava. And even with Ava there, Ava is trying to offer sympathy to Sonny and be the right hand. I think that Ava is in with Pikeman and trying to get the power back.
Possible, because she hasn't even told Sonny that she found out about his meds being tampered with.
Well,
So I think that's because that gives her an upper hand, right? I
yeah,
mean,
but let's see if Sonny actually follows through to get the blood test. Because right now, if Ava went to Sonny and said, "Listen, your meds are only at a quarter strength," theoretically he could be like, "Well, why were you going through my stuff? Why were you testing my pills? What gives you, because somebody has to stay on Sonny's support system, which is that person is Ava, because he doesn't trust anybody else. Jason's brought up to him, are you on your meds? Carly's brought up to him, are you on your meds? Carly's the one that said you should get a blood test and check on things, so he doesn't, in his character's mind, he doesn't want to, or he can't lose anybody else. So, and that's why Ava is playing things so close to the vest right now. Um, it, I don't know. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's trying to protect him and nudge him in the right direction. But I honestly don't know. It's so unpredictable right now, and I think GH is firing on all cylinders right now. Um,
yep. I think it was last week. Mama C in our chat room was like, the
yeah.
soaps are soaping. And I felt
Oh
that
yeah.
way about GH this past week. I'm like, GH is soaping. Like, wow,
Absolutely.
this is like very compelling to watch. And I haven't felt that way in a while. So when I feel that way, and I feel like actually watching an entire episode, that says a lot, because usually I'm like, I'll just kind of get the gist and fast forward to like the end of the segment type of thing. But I didn't feel like that about GH really in the last week. It was very actually compelling
Yeah.
content.
As everybody knows, today being Memorial Day, there was no new episode of GH, so tomorrow will be the first episode of the week. Um,
Yeah, I noticed that because I was actually going to watch, and then I was like, oh, it's Memorial Day.
yeah.
But they had Sabrina.
What?
They had
Oh,
Sabrina.
I did
They had
not watch it.
the episode from, I think, September, where Chase found out that Gregory has ALS, and then
Oh,
Sabrina
okay.
are in New York making love. So it was that episode.
Gotcha. Um, so moving on to a completely different storyline. Alexis and Diane are in New York in Albany. They're trying to get Alexis's law license back and correct a wrong that should never happened. But we see Lane Davies come on to the show, and I guess he and Nancy Legrand have history from a different soap in the past. Um, I don't know what show it was that they were both on together. Santa Barbara, maybe. But Lane Davies also plays Mac Johnson on the Bay, so it was good to see him in there. And he played Neil Burns' brother. Um, and it also comes out that he was the head of the law firm that allowed Ava to, to put in the complaint against Alexis for being, for uh perjuring herself in the medical board. It's a very confusing situation. I don't know. First of all, we know that Ava had a grudge for Alexis because of Julian, because of what was going on with Julian. But I honestly didn't think that Ava made sense to be the one calling the whistle there. I thought it would have been, somebody completely different. I thought it would have been somebody like, I don't know, I can't even think of a character that would make sense to do that other than maybe, Mr. Byrne himself, because he feels that Alexis was to blame for Neil's death and the death of his other brother, Brendan. Um, because that was, the other, Harmony killed both Byrne brothers, and they're, you know, this guy's blaming Alexis for it. Saying that if Neil didn't get involved, he wouldn't have, overdosed or whatever the case may be. Are they going to come up with the fact that no, they never found out that Harmony killed Neil, right? I don't think that has ever come to light. Had it?
Not that I remember, but I could be wrong. But I just thought the whole Neil testifying against Alexis in that court meeting, I was like, isn't this a conflict of interest for this guy? That's my whole thing out of the whole thing. I'm like,
but
no.
Here's the thing. He was on the medical review board. I think that's what it was. Was he on the medical review board, or was he on the review board for the bar that took away her law license? Yeah, he was on the panel of judges or whatever that ruled to have Alexis stripped of her law license, and then apparently when he found out it was about Alexis because of Neil, he recused himself because of that conflict of interest. So I don't know, it's a very confusing situation. And honestly, if you're tired watching it at night on Hulu, sometimes you might lose the gist of the context of the scenes. But regardless, it did come out that Ava Jerome was the one that filed the initial complaint against Alexis, which makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. What else are we going to? Let's see. We're not going to do so just to let everybody know, we're not going to do a very long episode tonight. We're actually going to end it relatively soon. Reason being, I have to be up at 4:30 a.m. East Coast time for work. It is currently, 10:48 p.m. East Coast time. So, in less than 6 hours, I have to be awake. So yeah, we're not going to be too late tonight. Hopefully, some things might change with my job situation over the next couple of months. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep everybody abreast of the situation. Overall, instead of going to any different storylines right now, overall, what are your views? What is really exciting you with GH right now?
Exciting me with GH is I'm most excited. I think I'm most excited on days, of course, when we got Chase in Brooklyn. I love Chase in Brooklyn. But Sasha and Cody in that development is really exciting for me to watch because I'm waiting for their next kiss, hoping it's not 6 months. Yes, I'm alluding to the airtime between Chase and Brooklyn's first kiss and the second one. It was 6 months, y'all. It was about 6 months. So don't make me wait 6 months. And then Tracy, just whatever they have next for her, because I'm really excited. I think she's on recurring, Jane Elliott's on recurring, but I love having Tracy back.
And I do too. I absolutely love it.
Whatever they have next for her, as far as the grief process for Gregory and what comes after that, I'm really interested in seeing where her character goes. Yes. So that's what I'm really most invested in with GH. And then I am I am not like a super big Sunny fan, as everyone knows, but the storyline is actually really compelling to watch for him in his storyline and seeing how far he goes off the rails in this storyline in particular. So I'm actually a little bit invested in that. And I'm looking forward to seeing where that ends up and how Ava, if like we said, is Ava gonna be secretly working against him? Is she for him? So seeing that play out and kind of actually surprisingly the entire Nina slash Drew relationship, like that kind of like I didn't really expect that to be like a thing, but now I'm kind of like, are they going to become like an actual thing, or is this just going to be like, I don't know. Like I'm kind of curious because to see those two like go at it and be like, oh yeah, we're just coworkers and getting along. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna see where
Right.
this goes. I'm actually curious to see how many times they sleep together before it becomes like an actual thing. And then that would be like so hilarious to see like Carly's reaction to like Drew and Nina together. I think that would be wild. So yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of what I'm looking forward to. And then I think Josh and Dex and Josh, I think they're gonna get back together at
Oh
some
yeah,
point.
I believe they will too.
Because
Absolutely.
yeah, she already admitted that she like loving him was like never the problem. She said that to him in the park, and I was like, oh, I kind of want these two to like work it out and get back together, and see how this plays out with Dex being on the PCPD. So
Yeah.
I'm I'm invested in those two as well. So we'll see where it goes, and hopefully I'll get my Chase in Brooklyn honeymoon at some point. But I guess we're gonna have to wait on that a while.
For a little while. I think they're good. I think they'll be going relatively soon. By the way, I did find that GoFundMe. It is apparently right now it was organized by looks like Michelle Kennard. Um uh says so it says there's a donation protected. So if it happens to be somebody who's not part of, you'll get your money back if you donate. Um but it is GoFundMe.com, Justice for Johnny, family support.
Mm.
We're looking to raise $100,000. It's currently at 37,541 uh, for 360 donations. This is how it reads. Um, I'm Michelle, Johnny's godmother. On May 25th, my dearest and best friend's son was murdered. He was the victim of the most senseless crime. Johnny Wactor, known to many as Brandon Corbin, those was Brando Corbin on General Hospital, was living his dream in LA. He was fatally shot early Saturday morning when he came upon a crime. Johnny was a kind of soul. My heart is utterly broken, and somehow we need justice for Johnny. I want to raise money for his mother Scarlett and his brothers Lance and Grant to be able to travel the distance of 2,000 miles, the many times it may take to take care of this heartbreaking business, which they have been sentenced. Uh, with God's will, the killer will be arrested, and the family will see him face to face. This may bring closure to the tragedy. Any excess donations will be donated to the charities the family chooses in memory of Johnny. Um, so check it out. If you are able, help out Johnny Wactor's family on GoFundMe. I'm going to share it to our social right now. Um, So I wanted, I just wanted to vet it out myself because you know, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it to our social right now at Suds SQ Circle Pod. Um, and that's from Sandy always, thank you. And that's Sandy at Sandy13 always on Twix as well. Um, but again, thank you for bringing that to my attention. All right. So outside of that, I agree. There's a lot of stuff that GH is doing right now that I'm loving. Um, I love Cody and Sasha together. I've been a fan of theirs since before they even kissed. When they first saw the inklings of that relationship, I've been enjoying it. I do happen to like Brooklyn and Chase. I'm happy we got the wedding. Um, and there was no gunfire, there was no bombing, there was no car explosions or anything. But we did get Sonny beating up Dex. We did get Gregory passing away after the fact. And we do have a new character in town, Gio, who is Brooklyn's cousin. He's a Cerulo. Um, and he is a violinist in real life, and he'll be staying with the Quartermains. Monica allowed him to move in. Um, but outside of that, I think everything is going very well for GH right now. Um, but all right, so folks, we've talked about a lot of stuff. It's kind of like I said, it's going to be a short episode this week. We're gonna end it right now, because you know it's one of those times where I have to live my real life outside of this podcast, and I do have to go to bed. Not that I ever want to sound like I'm not immortal, or that I'm some kind of a robot that I could only live on 2 hours of sleep. I'm not Vince McMahon prior to this current situation he's in. But um, anyways, this is a short week for GH. Tomorrow will be the first episode of the week. But just check it out. And again, for those of you who are able, go ahead and donate to the GoFundMe for Johnny Wactor's family. We are again sending our condolences, love, and all of that support to the family, friends, and fans of Johnny Wactor, who was murdered on Saturday morning, in a very senseless act of cowardice, and tragedy. And our support goes to the LAPD to bring this person to justice. All right. So for Christy, I'm Vinny. It's been a very somber episode this week.
Are we doing Grateful Minute?
Yeah, we could. We'll yes. Thank you for reminding me. We will be doing the Thankful Minute. So, Christy, I'm going to go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock, and your time starts now.
Okay. Well, I am grateful for a somewhat productive trip home. I had some things to take care of for my aunt and taking care of the parents. Got through that, thankfully. I am thankful to my cousin who helped me with that. I'm thankful for friends, of course, checking up on me. I'm grateful for a friend of mine who came to town to for a wedding, but she came out to visit me and told me that the debilitating part of grief will not last forever, which is very comforting to hear because I'm going through a lot of grief lately. So she had some great advice for me, and that's kind of it. I'm just grateful to be here tonight and be able to share my thoughts with y'all.
All right. All right. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and start the minute timer for my thankful minute as well. Um, I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful for the opportunities that are opening up for me, which is why one of the reasons why I'm, leaving this podcast early tonight, because I have to shadow a different department tomorrow in could be the next step in my career. But outside of that, I am, I'm thankful for being in a position to help get the word out, for the GoFundMe for, Johnny Wactor's family. But also, I'm thankful to be in a form of media, to have some type of voice when it comes to these senseless acts and getting, information out there, but also getting, opinions out there on how to, how things should be done and need to be changed and all that. But that's, pretty much it. I want to just thank everybody for watching and listening, because without you, there would be no us. And That's what it boils down to. So, anyways, we're gonna take off right now, folks. We'll be back next week with a new episode of Suds News, at a regular length of time, not a shortened length. But anyways, for Christy, I'm Vinny. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week right here on Suds News, brought to you by Suds and the Squared Circle. Enjoy your night, everybody.